Monday, July 21st at 4:52 a.m. The four men, with sleep still crusted around their eyes, were driving along the Tegan Highway toward the oil field when, without warning, a wild beast in the form of a white wolf rose out of the ground with fur as sharp as surgeon's scalpel and yellow eyes surrounded by pulsating red veins. The white wolf carried on for 47 seconds. It leaped across the valley floor with such force that the ground began to liquefy under roadbeds, and then its fierce tail swung with such strength that it knocked down trees and buildings made of brick, wood, and adobe. Oil rigs shot gushers of fire over 100 feet high, and the flames were so hot that steel turned to liquid, and iron railroad tracks twisted into the shape of hairpins. Along Bear Mountain Road, the ground rose to meet the car, rolling and tossing the men within. "What in tarnation?" shouted Grady as he tried to gain control. He stomped on the brake pedal and pulled his Ford Deluxe alongside the irrigation ditch that ran parallel to the road. "Feels like we got a flat on all fours," said Monroe, trying not to show fear. "I don't think so," said Earl in a near whisper. "Look up yonder." Speechless, the men stared through the dusty windshield at the asphalt road that had detached itself from the soft ground beneath. "Well, will you look at that?" Wyatt said as he pointed to the irrigation ditch. "The water's leaping over the sides." "Armageddon. Gotta be," yelled Monroe as both hands latched onto the back of the front seat. His mind exploded with a decade of flashing images on the multitude of occasions where he had lied, stolen, and fornicated. "No, it ain't Armageddon," said Earl. "I reckon what we got here is a white wolf earthquake, boys. Better get ourselves home and check on things." Then he pushed the passenger door open. "I'm going to take the wheel, Grady. I got a better feel for the road." Their nerves were balancing on the edge of a new razor blade as the aftershocks rocked them about. On the outskirts of town, they saw houses that had been pulled down. "Ain't nothing but a burn pile now," Wyatt said under his breath. They passed other houses where people were feverishly digging through stacks of brick, while a woman, still in her nightgown, looked on with tears of despair streaming down her face. "What in the—" Earl yelled as he swerved, just missing a woman wearing a long blue robe like an Orthodox nun who had escaped a Russian monastery. She gripped rolls of medical bandages. Close on her heels were 8 more, all in long robes of various colors, green, brown, yellow. They were barefooted and carrying medical supplies. "I don't know how they done it," said Earl as he waited for the robed women to pass. "I'd be willing to bet they got here before the ground stopped shaking." "Who are they?" asked Monroe. "They's the WKFL Foundation of the World," said Earl with an emphasis on world. "They follow a fellow who thinks he's the reincarnation of Christ." "Sounds like a crackpot," laughed Wyatt. "Might very well be," grinned Earl as he thought of the time Ona had dragged him to the Foundation's compound in Box Canyon one Easter to watch the group's leader, Venta, get crucified, complete with fake blood as part of their annual resurrection pageant. "They's oddballs for sure," continued Earl. "Anybody that thinks they come from another planet on some kind of rocket ship next to Adam and Eve, that'd be a few dogs shy of a hunt. But then I reckon that's why they so fearless. Heck, they even jump out of aeroplanes, barefoot, to bring food and bandages to firefighters." It was around 5:45 a.m. by the time Earl pulled onto the dirt lawn in front of their house and cut the engine. Grady bolted out of the car and yelled for his mother. Stepping over the crumbled porch, he pushed the front door with his shoulder, but it wouldn't budge. He called for Monroe and Wyatt to come help while Earl ran to the back of the house. The boys leaned hard into the door and pushed. Still, nothing. So they backed up a few steps and rushed at the door, but it still would not budge. "Hold up, boys. She's right here." They turned to see Earl with his arm around Ona, dressed in her blue moth apron and carrying an armful of cast-iron skillets. "What y'all trying to do? Pull the house clean down before I get everything out?" asked Ona. "That door don't open no more, and the back one won't shut. Y'all come on. Let's salvage what we can before the whole thing flattens."